You know, I kind of don't even know how to start this one because these dudes done lost to Alabama again, yo. Again. So, of course, if you don't know what I'm here to talk about today, I'm here to talk about LSU Alabama. The game was just the other day, November 7th, 2015. This was the big matchup, right? The rankings of the polls, the coaches, the whole new playoff rankings. It's all craziness. The polls were just released last Tuesday, and LSU was ranked number two. Alabama was ranked number four. One loss, Alabama, undefeated LSU, going into this huge matchup in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. And of course, LSU drops the ball again. What did we do? What did they do? What did they do? This video is just like my reaction to the game and everything. After, had a couple of days to digest that loss. Um, for starters, everybody was looking for a heavy dosage of Leonard Fournette in his hopes to capture a second Heisman Trophy in LSU football history. But that was pretty much stopped by Nick Saban and that front seven of Alabama. So, a couple of topics I'm just going to touch on here. It's just Leonard Fournette, the offense, LSU offensive play calling, and their possible outlook for the rest of the season. So, for starters, let's just kind of start off with this matchup in between Nick Saban and Les Miles. Well, even if you want to call it that, Nick Saban pretty much owns Les Miles, right? Which is crazy. But then again, you kind of think about it. Nick is the better coach. Nick is possibly the better recruiter. So that's pretty much dead right there. That dead that whole conversation, right? So anyway, man, kind of going back and after breaking down some of the tape of the game, Leonard Fournette couldn't get anything going, nothing at all. And Cam Cameron, this one's on you, bro. If you don't know who Cam Cameron is, he is the offensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers. He is the man that is responsible for LSU pretty much their whole offensive attack this whole season, besides Leonard Fournette. But yeah, so um, Cam Cameron, bro, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. Brandon Harris was playing great going into this game. Brandon Harris was playing great. Y'all gave him enough piece by piece. He started putting the offense together. Malachi Dupree, Darrell, they all started making plays. They started catching the ball. Brandon Harris was just out there slinging it. Everybody's out there having a good time. Brandon Harris is slinging it. Fournette's running up the field. Every time you look at it like LSU highlight, he's like running for 30 plus yards on one play, right? It's crazy. Um, Cam Cameron, this one's on you, dude. Why on offense? Okay, I understand. I understand you want to get Fournette going. Got it. But don't run the ball three straight times after your defense just got off the field. You're killing any type of momentum that you possibly gained on defense. You're hurting us. You're hurting us. Another thing, I didn't understand why he kept rolling Brandon Harris out of the pocket. Why are you rolling him to the speed of the defense? Dude, like you're rolling him to the edges where our line isn't the best. Fortinet is just a special player, and he's making these things happen. You're rolling Brandon Harris to the edges of the defense, where the defense can, of course, not only are they already getting shots at Brandon, but you're pretty much like exposing him. He's like a lame duck back there, you know. Um, One thing that I can say is Brandon Harris. He's a soldier. He's a trooper for real. Brandon Harris, he stood in there for the few throws that he did make that were just like money, money, money. He stood in the pocket, he took those shots, but he delivered catchable footballs. Early on, his nerves were all over the place, like that first drive, you could tell. But after that, he kind of settled down. But I think Cam Cameron really just blew it by rolling Brandon Harris to the edge and just kind of forcing the issue with Leonard Fournette. I think if you would have gave him, if you would have kind of involved the two players, give a little read option here, a little play action here, out of the gun. Give Brandon a little bit more time, sit back, throw, make a play, either with his legs or with his arm. Because if you notice, we were making plays through the air. Then all of a sudden, Cam was just like, nah, let's scrap that. Dude, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't understand that. Maybe later on in the week, we'll be able, down here in Baton Rouge, we'll be able to get some type of explanation as to why the offensive game plan went that way. But that's it for that. Rankings. So LSU was number 2 in the country. We've had a lot. There was a lot of action going on this weekend, especially in the not only the SEC West, not well the SEC in general. Florida clinched their spot in the SEC title game in Atlanta in a couple weeks. So we know the winner of the SEC. We don't know who the winner of the SEC West is, but the East is pretty much settled. Hey, side note, isn't it easy? Isn't it pretty cool whenever you can just pretty much not play anybody and you could wrap up your side of the conference first weekend of November? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, the SEC West is still to be determined. This weekend, it's Alabama and Mississippi State. You never know. They could get upended. Alabama could get upended by Mississippi State. You never know. You never know. They could get upended by Auburn. We all remember the kick six a few years ago. I know Bama fans are still having nightmares about that. LSU, looking at LSU schedule this weekend, they have, I believe it is Ole Miss at home. No, it's Arkansas at home, Ole Miss on the road, and home once again for senior night, which is Texas A&M for Thanksgiving Black Friday weekend. Just kind of thinking about rankings and whatnot. LSU was number 2, Bama was 4. And of course, the top 4 will get into the, I guess, this Final Four bracket that the NCAA football guys have came up with. So LSU could possibly slide. My prediction is LSU could possibly slide to what, maybe 6, 7, if that. LSU still has an outside shot of getting into the Final Four, if you will, but a lot of like destruction and chaos has to go on. Clemson looks great. Ohio State, I don't think they're gonna make it. They're like this every weekend. They're like all over the place. Like, right, they struggle against all these minor teams, and I think they're gonna get upended either by Michigan or maybe in the Big Ten championship by Iowa. Never know. We saw TCU lose. We saw Florida State is pretty much out of here. Um, I think the only team that is possible to get into any type of championship run would be LSU. One loss LSU or possibly one loss Alabama. Safe to say, I think the SEC champion will eventually be in the title game. SEC, they're the best conference in America. What can you say? It's the mini NFL. They hit hard, they play fast, they put out the most players into the league. What can I say? Anyway, man, LSU, hopefully they get it together. It's just one loss. But at worst case scenario, if they do finish the season with one loss, possibly looking at what, a Sugar Bowl game, possibly in the Dome in New Orleans. Hopefully they don't stink up the joint again like they did whenever they played Alabama in the national championship game. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Those are my takeaways. That's my reaction to the LSU Alabama game for November 7th, 2015. This is Marty Lee. Get at me on Twitter, Marty_Lee, MARDY underscore Lee, Lee. Same thing for Instagram. Snapchat, hit me, Marty, Mardy underscore Manziel, Manziel. Till next time, y'all.